This is lesson 18-1, solid figures. Our essential question, how are solid figures classified? Now, I do want you to copy down this picture and this picture because you are going to need this information. I don't expect your pictures to look perfect, just get the general idea because you are going to need to know the names of the 3 different prisms and the 3 different pyramids. For vocab words, we have faces, which is flat, polygon-shaped surfaces of solid figures. Polyhedron is 3-dimensional figure made of flat, polygon-shaped faces. An edge is a line segment where 2 faces intersect. A vertex is a point where several edges meet. A prism is a polyhedron with 2 congruent, parallel, polygon-shaped bases. A pyramid is a polyhedron that has 1 base. And finishing up our vocab, we have cylinder, which has 2 circular bases that are parallel and congruent. A sphere has no base. Every point on a sphere is the same distance from the center. A cone has 1 circular base. The points on this circle are joined to 1 point outside the base. And a net, which is a plain figure pattern, which, when folded, makes a solid. Example 1. Classify the polyhedron. Name all faces, including the bases, edges, and vertices. So this is why I wanted you to copy down those pictures at the start of our lesson. So if you look back to those pictures, you can see just by looking at the way that this shape is made that it is a rectangular pyramid. All right, now we need to name the faces, edges, and vertices. So let's start with the faces. Now remember I said a face is kind of like a side. So for example, right here, if you were to shade this in for yourself, that would be one side of this shape, which is called a face. So all we do is just name it by the 3 points. So it starts at point A, goes up to point E, and back to point B. So we have, and we draw the shape right in front of it like a little triangle, and we write A, B, E. Then we do the other side. So we have E, C, B for another example. Now it doesn't really matter which way you write in the letters as long as you have the 3 letters together. So E, C, B. Now on the other side of this, I kind of, when I shaded in that face to show you, I shaded over our other letter, but we also have C, E, D, which is down here. So this would be like the other side over here if you were to flip the figure over. So we have C, E, D. And then we also have A, D, E. And then lastly, we have our base. So our base is all 4 of the letters that form the bottom, pretty much. So A, B, C, and D all make this square bottom here. So those are our faces. The faces are like the sides. So you're just naming all the sides by their points, pretty much. So now we've got the faces, let's do the edges. Now remember, edges are going to be line segments where 2 of the faces or the sides where they meet. So for example, we have AB right here. 2 of the sides meet on the ends of A and B. So remember when we write a line segment, we put the little line over top of it. So then we have BC. And we kind of just keep going around the shape. CD. And DA. And then we also have the line segments that connect with our point at the top. So we have EB, EA, EC, and ED. So those are all of our edges. And the last thing we need to do, pretty easy, is the vertices. And the way I like to think about it is just to say the points, truthfully. So we have point A, B, C, D, and E. So that's how we name the faces, edges, and vertices. Example 2, we're doing the same thing. So again, if you look back at the picture from the beginning, you should be able to compare and tell that this is a rectangular prism. Now let's start with the faces. Remember, the faces are like the sides. And when we name them by the points that they're connecting. So we have this side right here, which is A, B, F, and E. And since this is a rectangular prism, we draw a little square in front. So we have A, B, F, E. Now we can do this side here, which is B, C, F, G. And we have the other side, if you were to flip it over. And for that, we have C, G, H, D. And then we have the other end right here, E, H, D, A. And then we have the top and the bottom. So here's our top and our bottom. And I'm just going to name those points as well. So H, E, F, G. And the last one, A, D, C, B. So your faces are how many sides you should have. So you should have 6 different sides. And now we move on to the edges. So remember, the edges are the line segments that connect two faces. So for example, we have HE. Remember, you have to put your little symbol above. HJ. Or sorry, not J, G. HG. GC. CB. BA. AD. EA. EF. FB. FG. And lastly, CD. And our last thing is the vertices, which are the points. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Example 3. So this is what a net looks like. So it's like if you had a piece of grid paper and you had the shape on it, and you were going to cut it out and fold it up on those dotted lines. Basically, what shape would it make? Now you could practice this. You could put it on a piece of paper, try cutting it out, and see what shape it makes. Most of them are pretty obvious. Like this one, if this was going to be the base, this would be one side, two sides, and three sides. So that would be a triangular pyramid. And our last one, same thing. This one is going to be a cylinder. And I know that because this would go around, and these two shapes would be one on top and one on the bottom. And here are your two practice problems. For number 1, you're doing the same thing like we did in examples 1 and 2. And for number 2, you're doing the same thing we did in examples 3 and 4. Please rewatch the examples as you need to. Don't forget a word problem or a question, and rate your understanding.